Man knows not love, only attachment. When I say man knows not love, only attachment, I'm not being poetic. I am being precise. Love is not what most men are experiencing. What they call love is dependence with emotion attached to it. Look closely. A man says he loves a woman. But what is actually happening? She makes him feel seen. She regulates his loneliness. She stabilizes his emotions. She gives meaning to his identity. She confirms his worth. Remove her and he collapses. That collapse is the proof. Love does not collapse, only attachment does. Attachment is transactional. It says, I need you to feel okay. That need can be romanticized, sexualized, spiritualized, but it remains need. And need is fear wearing perfume. Love has no fear. Love does not ask, will you leave? Did you still want me? What am I without you? If those questions exist, love is not present. Only insecurity is present. Most men never meet themselves fully. They outsource their emotional center to a woman, a job, validation, admiration, purpose borrowed from outside. Then they call the relief they feel love. It is not love, it is temporary anesthesia. Why does attachment feel intense? Because the mind is involved. Attachment has craving, anxiety, drama, longing, obsession, fear of loss. Intensity does not equal truth. Noise does not equal depth. Trauma is loud. Love is silent. Love does not need possession. Attachment says, you are mine. Love says nothing. It does not bind. It does not grasp. It does not demand continuity. It is complete in itself. This is why most relationships end in bitterness. Not because love failed, but because love was never there. Two attachments collided. When the supply stopped, resentment surfaced. A man capable of love is rare. Because to love, a man must be inwardly whole, not need another to complete him, be untouched by fear of loss, be sufficient alone. Such a man can walk away without hatred and stay without clinging. That is love. Until then, honesty is required. Call attachment what it is. Do not call it sacred. Do not call it divine. Do not call it love. Attachment is not wrong, but confusing it for love is the source of suffering. A man does not suffer because someone leaves. He suffers because he abandoned himself long before they did. Love has no fear. Attachment is fear based. Intensity is not love. Collapse after loss proves attachment. Love is silent, complete, non possessive. Most men outsource their emotional center. Attachment is common, love is rare. Confusing the two creates suffering. When fear enters, love has already exited. This is not moral statement, it is structural. Why fear and love cannot coexist? Fear always asks about the future. Will you live? Will this last? What if I lose this? Love is never concerned with continuity. It is present tense. The moment the mind moves into what if this disappears, you are no longer in love. You are in psychological time. Love does not live there. What those questions actually reveal? Let's dismantle them one by one. Will you live? This is not a question about the other person. It is a confession. It says, my inner stability depends on your presence. That is not love. That is emotional outsourcing. Do you still want me? This is not intimacy. This is self-worth negotiation. You are asking another human being, please continue to validate my identity. Love does not need confirmation. Only insecurity seeks reassurance. What am I without you? This is the clearest signal. If this question exists, then you were never whole. Love does not complete you. Love can only happen after completeness. Otherwise, it is a merger of deficiencies. Fear is always about loss, and loss only matters when something is possessed, something is dependent upon, something is used as an anchor. Love does not anchor itself, it is free. Why attachment creates fear? Attachment says, this person is part of my psychological survival. So the mind becomes vigilant, reading tone changes, overanalyzing messages, tracking attention, feeling threatened by absence. This vigilance is fear. Fear is effort. Love requires no effort. The paradox most men miss. They believe If I care deeply, I must feel afraid of losing. This is false. Fear does not prove depth. Fear proves lack of inner ground. Depth comes from stillness, not clinging. Love does not need guarantees. Attachment wants promises, labels, certainty, reassurance. Love needs nothing to continue. It is not invested in outcomes. That is why love can let go without resentment. Why fear feels real? Because the mind is involved. Fear has thought, images, scenarios, emotional spikes. Love has none of this. Love is quiet. So quiet that insecure people call it boring. The brutal test. Here is the test. Simple and merciless. If the thought of someone leaving destroys your peace, you are attached. If someone can leave and your center remains untouched, love may be present. This does not mean indifference. This is where people misunderstand. Love is not cold, love is not distant, love is not careless, love is non needy warmth. It gives without bargaining, it stays without gripping, it leaves without poison. Why this is rare? Because most people have never met themselves fully, are terrified of inner emptiness, use relationships as emotional shelter, so fear enters immediately. And where fear lives, love cannot. The mind asks questions because it is afraid. Love does not ask questions, love is. Fear and love are structurally incomplete. Questions about loss reveal dependency. Love is present tense, not future oriented. Fear is possession plus dependence. Love is free, quiet, non needy. If peace collapses when someone leaves, attachment was present. Why man only knows attachment? Because man is not at home within himself. Attachment is not learned in adulthood. It is inherited from childhood and cemented by society. Man grows up fragmented. From the beginning, a boy learns this equation. Being is being needed, approved, rewarded. Love comes when he performs. Attention comes when he achieves. Safety comes from pleasing. So his nervous system learns. Connection equals survival. This writing does not disappear with age. It becomes attachment. Man never develops an inner center. No one teaches a man how to sit alone without distraction, feel emptiness without escaping, experience silence without panic. So he grows outward. He builds identity through achievement, status, woman, admiration, usefulness. But none of these are him. They are props. Take the props away and he shakes. Attachment is clinging to props. Man mistakes intensity for aliveness. Silence feels dead to him. Stillness feels empty. Peace feels boring. So he seeks emotional highs, drama, pursuit, longing, tension. Attachment provides all of this. Love does not. So he avoids love without knowing it. Man is terrified of emptiness. Emptiness is not nothingness. It is unoccupied awareness. But to a man who has never faced himself, emptiness feels like death. So he fills it with people, ambition, desire, obsession. Attachment is how he escapes the void. Society rewards attachment. Attachment makes men productive, controllable, ambitious, compliant. A man who does not need external validation is dangerous to systems. So insecurity is encouraged, not healed. Man confuses dependence with intimacy. He believes, if I don't need you, I don't care. This is backwards. Need is weakness. Care is presence. But since he only knows need-based bonds, he cannot imagine connection without clinging. Man has never tasted being complete. Love requires wholeness, but man lives in becoming, not being. Always chasing the next level, the next person, the next identity. Attachment gives him direction. Love requires him to stop. Stopping terrifies him. The painful truth. Man does not choose attachment. Attachment chooses man because he has never learned how to stand alone. What changes this? Not philosophy, not romance, not self-improvement. Only one thing. Meeting oneself in silence long enough that fear dissolves. Until then, attachment will always feel like love. Attachment is the shadow of a man who has not met himself. Love begins where self-abandonment ends. So attachment comes from childhood survival wiring. Lack of inner center creates dependency. Emptiness is feared, not understood. Society rewards insecure, attached men. Intensity replaces truth. Love requires boldness. Attachment fills lack. So, man does not suffer because he loves too deeply. He suffers because he has never learned how to be with himself. Attachment is not a flaw, it is a survival strategy that outlived its usefulness. It was formed when approval meant safety and separation felt like death. That wiring remains long after the danger is gone. Love is not something man fails at. Love is something he has not yet become capable of. Capability comes only when inner silence replaces inner noise. Aloneness stops feeling like abandonment. Self worth is no longer outsourced. Fear of loss no longer defines connection. Until then, attachment will wear the mask of love because it is the closest thing man knows. The shift is not dramatic, it is quiet. A man stops needing, and in that stopping, love finally has space to appear. Not as possession, not as dependence, but as presence.